Michigan State, they needed to make a big splash with their next athletic director hire, and my goodness gracious, I think they did just that.
You are Locked On Spartans, your daily podcast on the Michigan State Spartans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Episode of Locked On Spartans is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Spartan friends, Spartan family, Locked On Spartans listeners, thank you all so much for tuning in to Locked On Spartans. It's your team in green and white every single day right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. And shout out to all you everyday listeners. Please rate, review, subscribe, comment below your thoughts on J Batt, who is, by all accounts, seems to be Michigan State's next athletic director. It's going to be formally announced as soon as tomorrow, per a bunch of reports everywhere. But yes, guys, we're going to start the show with a new athletic director. Your Michigan State football team, they got a 2026 commit. And then ESPN, they put Aidan Chiles in a quarterback tier that I didn't necessarily agree with. But for that conversation, we are joined by John Kirby, great friend of the program here. So loaded show to start this week, but let's talk about the big news. And yes, that is Jason Batt, or better known as J Batt, just goes by one letter. God, how baller is that? This came on Sunday, a report from Pete Thamel of ESPN, and then this was also, I guess met with a bunch of other outlets too, confirming these reports that yes, it will be J Batt, formerly of Georgia Tech. He will be Michigan State's next athletic director. And right off the rip, I mean, even before clicking on his resume and learning anything that he did, I like that just right on the surface, right? That you got a Power 4 athletic director, someone that has athletic directing experience, someone that has doing it at the ACC level. And this is kind of where we thought Michigan State would go early on. When we talked about it right after Alan Haller was let go, we said, yeah, I think it'll be a guy from the Big 12, the ACC, someone that's in a Power 4 conference. But you know what? It's going to be hard to pull away any SEC or especially another Big 10 athletic director. So this is where I thought they were going to go. And then you hear a bunch of names, and this is no disrespect to all the candidates out there, but, like Western Michigan's athletic director was thrown out there, or some guys that had no athletic director or athletic department experience in some cases. And it's like, I don't know if we can be fully bought in on that. I know the world of college sports is kind of going all over the place, so maybe you don't need AD experience, but I'm glad that they did get someone that has been an athletic director at a high level. And then we click on his resume to know what this guy is actually all about. So J Batt, he's been at Georgia Tech since 2022, and my goodness gracious, Georgia Tech fans are not happy about this one. And look, I'm not trying to pile on Georgia Tech fans, but when they are as disappointed by this news as they are online in different forums, message boards, Reddit threads, that probably means good news for us, right? Like, no one is really happy to see him leave down there. So I think Michigan State, right on the surface, got someone really strong because he is a great fundraiser. And President Kevin Guskowitz, he made that pretty clear that, yeah, that's going to be at the forefront of this athletic director search, someone that could raise funds. And my goodness gracious, Mr. Batt, he gives himself some moolah whenever he wants it. Now, this is per this ESPN story from Pete Thamel. Donations increased by 43% to $78.2 million in Batt's first fiscal year at Georgia Tech. He also, oversaw this whole stadium naming rights deal that he had with Georgia Tech, partnered with Hyundai. So right now their stadium is Bobby Dowd Stadium at Hyundai Field. Is that inevitable to happen here at Michigan State? Maybe yes, maybe no, but the guy understands that, okay, you need a lot of money in a lot of creative ways here in college sports. So he went to Hyundai and got a $55 million deal over the course of 20 years. He also, it's not just all about fundraising. He hired Brent Key, who I think is a fantastic coach down there for Georgia Tech, coming off of a fine season for the Rambling Wreck down there. So he's got the fundraising chops. He has the hiring chops. He's everything that you want in an athletic director right now on the surface. So before Georgia Tech, though, he's also done it at a few other big boy programs. Like he was the COO and Chief Revenue Officer at Alabama, oversaw a 10-year, $600 million capital gain project. Again, guys, Michigan State, they know where the world of college sports is going. It is driving up those funds. And yeah, his experience at Alabama, also senior associate athletic director at East Carolina. He's done some time at Maryland, James Madison, William and Mary, his alma mater, North Carolina, which, by the way, won a national championship there with their soccer team as a player back in 2001. So not too shabby of a resume, I would say. So my takeaway is like, I obviously his tenure has yet to officially start, but I don't see how you can't be happy with this, if not thrilled, if you're a Michigan State fan. He's done it at the highest levels. He has shown it. He has proven it. And now he gets to take his fundraising chops, everything that he has known and shown, and he gets to do it at Michigan State, a top 15 revenue generating school in the country. People forget that. People forget how much money can truly be inside of Michigan State. So he gets to try to unlock that treasure chest right here with over 500,000 living alumni. And I also love this too, is that Michigan State was not playing games. Like, he was doing okay financially. I'm talking his salary at Georgia Tech, making somewhere in the ballpark of $1.2 million. Now, Alan Haller, I think his salary was around like $800,000 to $900,000. Guys, they are doubling what they were paying Haller. Chris Solari of the Free Press, he tweeted this out right before he started recording that, yes, they're going to put up $1.8 million per season. So, yeah, MSU's getting serious. Always thought that they would be. They didn't let Alan Haller go just for laughs, just because they were bored. No. They're getting serious in the athletic department, though, and this move screams that. So, guys, really quick before we get to, talk about Aidan Chiles, a few mailbag questions with our good friend John Kirby. Michigan State football. That's right. On the defensive side of the ball, they got their first commit for the 2026 class, and this comes at the end of the first official visit, official visit weekend here in June. So this is Braylon Hodge, 6'3", 210-pound, 3-star linebacker out of Colorado. Now, he was slated to also visit Minnesota, Utah, Iowa, so some pretty solid competition that Michigan State was going to have. But now after he commits, those visits are canceled. He is locked into the green and white right now. So 24/7 Sports, they have him ranked as the number 45th ranked linebacker in the country. And this guy, yeah, he knows how to win. State champion for Cherry Creek out there in Colorado. I believe they went 13-1. So he knows what winning football looks like. Now, on the field, what kind of a style is he as a player? It pops out to you immediately when you watch his huddle tape or his highlight film, is that he plays on the line as that stand-up edge rusher quite often. They want this man attacking the quarterback, but he could also really set contain on the run too pretty well. And I know it's not maybe where your mind immediately goes when you're talking about a linebacker. Like, it sounds like I'm talking about a rush end right now. So will he ever profile there in his career? Should he add on a little bit more weight? I don't think 210 pounds is what you want for a college rush end. But hey, just on the surface right now, he knows how to get after the ball. He is very instinctual. He does have a quick reaction time. Just a really smart player is what I'm seeing when I'm watching his highlight tape. And clearly, so does the Michigan State coaching staff too. And one other thing that I noticed is he looked pretty quick out there. He looked fast. And I think this staff, and you saw this last year with them picking up DJ White out of St. Mary's, is that they want to prioritize some speed with their outside linebacker position here. You know that you have to have some shred of athleticism, especially in this day and age of a Big Ten, where, yeah, wide receiver mismatches against linebackers, as we've seen here in East Lansing, they can be taken advantage of. So I think that's also a sticking point with Michigan State, too, is that, hey, this kid is also a quick, fast player. So for the 2026 class, guys, like I said, he's the first defensive player so far in this class, the 5th overall. And from everything I know, Michigan State's going to try to add one more linebacker to this 2026 class here. So even though the weekend's over, that doesn't mean Michigan State's official visits are done for the week. They're doing this unorthodox Monday, Tuesday visit here with 4 players right now. And 2 of them are 4-star guys, and one of them is like a top 100 player. And that guy, defensive end Carter Gooden. Now, that would be a massive, massive get. Justin Thind actually pointed this out in his piece on 24/7 Sports, that he would be the highest ranked recruiting pickup for Michigan State since 2019 with Devontae Dobbs. So we'd be going back 6-7 years here if they were able to get Carter Gooden at a position of need. I don't think I need to say that, especially if you're a Michigan State fan. But yes, he's not the only 4-star defensive end visiting, though, guys. Tyson Harley, he will also be on campus. They also have 3-star cornerback Jackson Gates, who right now is committed to Syracuse, and then 3-star interior offensive line Adrian Hamilton. So we'll update that further throughout the rest of the week here, guys. We will be talking recruiting throughout the week coming up here, but that's the little primer for your Monday, Tuesday visitors. Now we're going to get with our guy John Kirby, talk Aidan Chiles. Chiles, get to a few mailbag questions. But first, guys, need to talk your ears off about Monarch Money, because if you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Maybe you could hear it in my voice, but I could have gotten in that situation this weekend at the bachelor party I was at. Money can fly around everywhere in these circumstances, but Monarch Money is keeping me tight, guys, because between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, about 58,000 pictures of twisted tea, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Now, Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it is a complete financial command center, so you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money, and you start building your wealth. Now, guys, when I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery, and now I'm budgeting smarter and I am saving more. So what are you waiting for out there? Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Folks, we are joined by the one, the only John Kirby, fantastic friend of the program right here, but also does fine work on the program that is known as The Only Podcast with the one, the only Austin Smith. Now, John, we're going to do some barbecuing here on this late May because ESPN came up with a nice little article about college football quarterbacks, and I don't necessarily agree with where they slotted Aidan Chiles. But before we get to what he had to write and everything, you get two words, John, to describe Aidan Chiles. Which ones are you going with here? When you have a spot immediately.
I'm gonna go positive, electric.
Good.
I think the other one is gonna be yikes.
Okay, so electric and yikes. Just those two words. I'm going to assume that you're not going to agree with what David Hale had to write for ESPN. Now, I will say this, David Hale, he went through ranking all 136 quarterbacks in FBS, and the piece was very entertaining. Go ahead and read it, everyone. But as it pertains to just Aidan Chiles, our sweet, sweet Aidan Chiles, I do question how much he's actually watched of him here, because how he did it, broke it out by tiers, 20 different tiers of quarterbacks, John. It was quite the undertaking that he had here. So tier 1, best of the class. That's your Cade Klubniks, that's your Garrett Nussmeyers, etc. Tier 2, your pretty darn good tier. Hey, Sam Levitt's in there. Aidan Chiles got bumped down all the way to the 7th tier, and I don't disagree that he's just maybe a tick above average. It's not that he's maybe very too low. It's what he labeled that tier. He labeled that tier the consistently consistent tier, John. And he wrote as much. The term game manager gets thrown around in a lot of quarterback analysis, and it's often used in place of a term of average. That's an unfair descriptor for these players who are game managers in more of a sense of doing all the little things it takes to give their teams a chance to win without often hogging much of the spotlight in the process. They're very good. They're just probably not going to emerge as superstars. Electrifying and yikes, which I wholly agree with, John. I don't watch Aidan Chiles and see game manager whatsoever here. Am I just in my own little brain, or do you also scratch your head at this one?
I mean, he manages games just in his own unique way.
Don't we all?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, everyone's different, but I had a really hard time with. I will say, while it may be off the bat doesn't sound like the right category, consistently consistent, he is consistently inconsistent. So I think it's close.
Consistently fun to watch.
Consistently must-see television.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Made for networks here. Look, so he shared that tier with 7 other quarterbacks, and it's fine. And I get if you just look at it on paper, and I understand if David Hale didn't have time to watch every single Michigan State game from October on, but yeah, it kind of was like on paper, very game manager-esque numbers. But when you watch him, you know that's not really the full story here. So if I had to move him to any other tier, it would be tier 3. And again, not because of, hey, I think he's like one of the third best tiers of quarterbacks. It's what David had this categorized as, which 19 players shared this one. It's the buckle up tier. Like, that is the epitome of the Aidan Chiles experience, right? Like, you do not want to watch a minute of the action because you could be seeing a 35-yard out route thrown on a dime, or you could see an interception where a Spartan is like the 4th most likely player to catch the ball. But you're going to ride with him either way. So feel like the buckle up tier was a lot more accurate
100%.
for our guy. Yeah,
100%. I mean, I hate to bring it up, but the first pass of his MSU career was an out route pick against who did they play?
that'd be FAU, the Owls.
That was kind of a perfect encapsulation of what we're about
setter.
Yeah.
No, that's unfortunately accurate. I always just go back to the Boston College game, which, like, I do think that was a game that he learned a lot from last year, where he threw 3 interceptions. And I always say this too, and I'm not even joking when I say this, probably could have been 6 or 7 interceptions if it wasn't just the rainiest evening in Chestnut Hill that you've ever seen. I mean, balls were just flying off of the Eagles' chest plates. But whatever, it still didn't matter. They won the game. But I think he did get a little more careful with the ball late in the season. Maybe a touch to a fault, but I do think he comes into this season being, back to that playmaker, just knowing that you can't play Madden on rookie mode and make every single throw in the book. You got to be at least a little cautious here. So with that said, like, when will you be bought into that, okay, Aidan Chiles has fixed things? Would it be like if he gets into this USC game with 2 interceptions or less? Is it going to be how he plays in that first road game against the Trojans? Like, when will you buy into, okay, Aidan Chiles is actually who we think he can be? Stressful question.
We know what he can do, and everyone has confidence in this kid because we've seen the flashes, right? Those moments where you're like, oh, okay, this kid has the skills to play at the next level.
The sauce. Yeah.
It's everything in between those. And I think if we were looking for something, it would be, can you go back-to-back games without a back-breaking mistake? I mean, we saw it every game. Even the Iowa win, which was probably the best win of the season.
Certainly.
Terrible decisions. Decisions that I make in my dynasty all the time. Mm-hmm. Like where you are watching, you're like, he's not open, throwing it. Like,
yeah, I'm hitting the X anyway.
And then he gets picked off, and you're like, yeah, that was going to happen. That happens way too often with Aidan, and you'd like to think that a year cleans some of that up. I think it's unrealistic to think that you could just remove that from your.
It's going to be part of him always, right? Like, this is something you got to deal with. Now, it can't be, okay, you get out of the first 3 home games at Spartan Stadium, which would be against Western Michigan, then Boston College, and Youngstown State. It'd be tough to get out of that, trio, not just that you're playing at home, but against the quality of teams that you're playing against. With like 4 or 5 interceptions. Now, if they're weird interceptions where, like, they tip off the receiver's hands, okay, whatever, but I feel like you got to get into that first road game with, like, just 3 interceptions tops. And I want to see the making of these 3 interceptions here. So I just can't wait for the season to start. And not just because I'm excited for Michigan State football and tailgating and woohoo, it's fun. But, like, I need answers about this team. I need answers about Aidan Chiles. I want to see, like, if we can actually get excited for a football season, which, John, we haven't done that in a minute.
It's true. What I love about Aidan is, like, we kind of know his 2 moves now, where it's like the left jab, like, hezzy, and then go right. But it takes so much longer than, like, an athlete like Nick.
He gets into, like, this full, like, 3-point stance in basketball. It is really drawn out in a way.
It's more athletic. Yeah, it's more athletic than the guys, necessarily, like, defending, and it usually works. And also the in the pocket spin move where he's waiting for the blind side to come, and it's a slow spin, and it works. But you're like, that's going to have to get faster. Like, that's not going to work.
Luckily for him, he got a lot of practice at that last year, spinning out of both sides. But we've talked ad nauseum that hopefully it can get better this year as far as protecting our sweet boy Aidan Chiles. Just please protect him, guys. Please, we beg you. So ESPN David Hale, he also wrote a fun fact for pretty much every program too in this piece, and I will debate the definition of fun fact here because he wrote for Michigan State. Michigan State has not thrown more touchdowns than its opponents in any full season since 2017. Thanks for that one, David Hale.
I have a question.
I'll come on the show anytime, but, like, yeah. Please.
I got a question for you. Miss him yet? Who is 2017? Do you miss him yet?
I miss him. B-Dog, Brian Lewerke. I might put the billboards back up.
Whoever put the billboard up.
Ball knower.
Vindicated. Vindicated.
They are. Oh man, but like that's a long time. First of all, like it was a play of two acts here. Act one is like, yeah, like it has been a while since like we've been good on pass offense and pass defense too. That's a two-way street. But number two, it's like, oh god, 2017. It's like 8 years ago. Like I thought it was like 3. I just don't have the concept of time anymore. But that's just more of my inner monologue and crises that I suffer with, and not so much about Michigan State football here. But John, you want to go swimming in the mailbag with us really quick here? Because from one fun thing to another here, Matt C., who always writes great questions at lockedonspartans@gmail.com. Now, he wrote in this dandy of a question: would you rather have Jonathan Smith go 3-9 so we can fire him after this year and get a clean start with the new athletic director / coach and potential for a higher ceiling, a.k.a. Urban Meyer, for example, or 3 more years of 6 to 8 wins but never really competing for anything of note with Jonathan Smith? Bat first on this one, John. What are you going to do? Are we lighting this year on fire at 3-9, or are we going to see this out for a little bit here?
I mean, in this scenario, the best case scenario is 3 8-win seasons in a row. And and then what do we do with that? Like, can you build on that? I think at that point you are who you're becoming Iowa. Like, that's who you are. So I'm going to 3-9.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that I want, like, I would actually think that scenario is pretty likely. No. Not the 3-9, but the building on things year over year. That said, who knows what type of resources this new athletic director is going to demand if he takes or she takes the position. Yeah,
of course. So did it just get too real for you, like hearing that the next 3 years can be 6 to 8 wins? Is that what kind of spooked you? Like you just saw yourself watching football on Saturdays, just knowing that you're not going to beat the big teams. You'll win all the winnable games, and okay, I understand.
That was kind of a stinker. I mean, it was a great question, but it bummed me out.
Am I a loser? Okay, yes, I am a loser, but like, am I a loser for this being my answer here? That like, I think I would take the 6 to 8 wins, and it's kind of twofold here. The first is I'd do anything to just go to any bowl game this year. Sure. Like I want to live a little. I want to like be part of a fan base that is collectively emotionally involved somewhat in the month of November. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that'd be fun to do again. Like, I had a lot of great times doing that a few years ago. Let's just run that back. Why not?
Right. Yeah.
Well, also, like, this would kind of be the trajectory that I guess that a lot of people were talking about, and us in a way too on this show too. Like, work your way up by year, 2, get to 6 wins. Year 3, hey, maybe your floor was college football playoff, and 8 wins certainly isn't that. But if you're trending in the right direction, slowly, methodically, just like Jonathan Smith did at Oregon State, at least we're seeing this rebuild play out, and hopefully in this recruiting season that we're in, John, hopefully, 6 to 8 wins means that you are getting in bigger battles for recruits. You're not just beating, like Ball State and Western Michigan and, hey, we beat Cincinnati this time around. Like, get into legitimate battles and maybe like even win a few of those too, because winning can cure a few things. I just want to see what the staff looks like recruiting with at least a bedrock of some wins below it. Is that so much to ask?
I think that's fair. The counter in me says, like, I have getting older as a fan here, fewer years to experience a Nat. Okay. If a Nat is not happening with somebody, let's find someone who wants
next.
Nat, I'm Nat or bust, and I may be bust for a very, very long time. But
I get it. And like, if you do get the new guy, it recharges the fan base, and hey, maybe some donors are fired up, and you get this whole new pot of money unlocked. Like, I do think this is a question with 2.
Yeah.
I mean, like, neither are great answers, but like 2 correct answers, I guess I should say. But I'm gonna, just because I'm starved for any success, I need a new bowl game hoodie in my closet, John. I need the Home Depot First Responders Bowl hoodie in my closet. I'm gonna go with option B here. Like the loser that I am, I'm just going to be a little too scared to gamble right now. So
there's nothing wrong with the Fenway Bowl, or what is that called?
The Wasabi Fenway Bowl, John, the granddaddy of them all. Come on, don't act like you don't know.
We love playing in Boston and US. Bad luck.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. Oh, what better way to spend a holiday week as a player than going to a place that's 28 degrees? The dimensions of the field are not safe for anyone on the field. The sight lines are horrible for half the crowd. Like, let's do it right to end the year this time around. Come on, guys. Let's go. Come on. One more mailbag question here, and this is from Tyler. Again, wrote in lockedonspartans@gmail.com. And this is the question that we're going to tackle here. Okay. Would you take MSU football to make any bowl game this year if it meant MSU basketball to make the tournament as an 8 or a 9 seed, or even miss the tournament altogether? Let's take like the first half of that. Like, would you take this trade right now? Michigan State, they make the Wasabi Fenway Bowl, John. But the basketball team, they are an 8-9 game this upcoming tournament. Do you take that trade? Are you that desperate to see your Michigan State Spartans in a bowl game?
I'd like to look in door number 2. I don't like this door number 1 situation.
Okay.
I've seen.
Yeah. We've lived this.
I've done this. The 8-9 seed doesn't usually end up well for us. I'm trying to think in my head. 30-point blowout to Memphis. 20-point blowout loss to Kansas. North Carolina lost a couple of years ago. That wasn't necessarily close. Like, I'm good.
Game, right? Yeah, I know. And like altogether, like a middling bowl game. And I know, like literally 90 seconds ago, I just talked about how much I need to see a bowl game. I don't need to see it at the expense of basketball, though. Like I don't need 2 seasons back to back of mediocrity. Right. Like if one's going to flame out, at least let the other one have a chance of being good. And I say that as someone that loves the sure thing in life. Like, hey, this is in the tournament. This is a bowl game. But just for this circumstance, no, I'm going to buck up here. We're going to just bravely walk into the fire here of both football and basketball season and see what happens.
I'm with that.
Because there's just nothing more pathetic than like, and I've done many of these shows last few years, John, like an embarrassing amount of these shows where, hey, Michigan State, they're in the 8-9 game, but could losing actually help them get on the 10 seed?
Yes.
2 seed's going to be better to play. Or, don't threaten me with a good time of losing a few in a row and getting the 11 seed. And
it's actually better.
6 game, like, it's actually, you just cope and spin yourself in a circle until you puke, and the next thing you know it, you get dummied up in the second round anyway. So
exactly.
I've done too many of that to do it voluntarily all over
You're
again.
A pro.
So yeah, fortunately I am. I've also gotten really into being good at APR scores and what that means for bowl eligibility for like the 5-win teams. We've done so many embarrassing shows here on our teams the last few years, but yeah, I'm not well versed in like, hey, 5-star recruiting battles, but I could tell you what teams get the nod to go to like the Cure Bowl because they had the best APR score of the year prior.
You know what? Someone's got to be good at that. I'm glad
someone's got to be good. Yeah, nice little niche party trick I get to bring into all places. So
awesome.
Oh yeah, Austin's one word for it. Hey, speaking of Austin, I think this was awesome. I always love talking to you, John. And also, your co-pilot Austin over there too. You guys do fantastic work over at the Only Podcast. Anything you want to like plug here before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your week, or no?
Let's see.
On the spot here.
I will plug getting outside, enjoying the summer, not worrying about this. But I will say, I do think that I'll plug nothing for me, but that I'm going to go to bat for both programs real quick.
Okay.
Let's see what Jonathan Smith can do developing Aidan Chiles. If he can put Aidan Chiles in the league, that can do wonders for this program. Nick Marsh, he's a league. That's going to help already. All right. So let's see where we go this year with that. Side story to watch. The basketball stuff, I feel like we're seeing maybe a little bit too doomsday scenario type of conversations. At the end of the day, this is the program that won the Big Ten by 3 games?
3 games, John.
Went to the Elite 8, and that's not a point of pride, but the furthest among anyone in the league. Like before we, crown Purdue and Michigan, let's go ahead and play the games. And remember that we do have the most electric player in the country who took a massive leap from freshman to sophomore year. Yeah. Who's to say why he can't take another one? So let's just maybe ride good vibes this summer instead of
scary. That's how you walk it off right there, John. That's awesome. Anything you want to plug in, he just says, go touch grass, and then pep talk for both programs to get you fired up out of this one. That's
Here to
why
help.
he's the best in the business, folks.
Here to help.
John Kirby, just absolutely sensational work as always. And gang, we'll be back. That's right here, Locked On Spartans, your team every day right here in the Locked On Podcast Network. But until then, take time to take care of yourselves. Love you all. Go Green.